Welcome, 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 welcome. Hello, welcome to today's episode. I'm Memphis J Motivational, where you come through truth and knowledge. Today's episode is titled When to Just Say No. Welcome again. Welcome, everybody. So I'll just go straight into today's topic, when to just say no. So let's get straight into today's topic. And I'll begin like I always do with a quote. When you say yes to others, make sure you do not say no to yourself. Paulo Coelho quote. When you say yes to others, make sure you do not say no to yourself. It's okay to say no. Quite simply, when someone asks you for help, just ask them how. How can I help you? Because most times, most people ask you for help and they don't even actually know what they want. And when you just take that simple effort to asking them how can I help you? It helps them to focus their minds and be clear on how you can help. And that gives you the opportunity to say yes or no, whatever the case may be. If you do not know how to say no, or if you do not dare say no, then you'll find this newsletter, simple steps. I'm going to describe 5 steps or 5 wins on how to help you to unlock and assert yourself more effectively. To know how to say no is learned. So it's something that you may not be good at currently or something that you may have struggled with. But I'm going to talk you through and I'll give you when and instances when you can and you should be saying no. It is powerful to say no. It's all about making sure that things are aligned. Right, so without further ado, first point, number 1, when what is being asked contradicts your principles or values or moral compass. By not expressing your own needs and desires, we do not act in accordance with ourselves, and we sometimes may lose our personal value. That is why no helps to increase our self-esteem. What's your personal value? Have you got a moral compass? Have you got any principles? And I think this is the starting point. So as a person, you should have some principles and values that are the guiding light for your life and how you conduct your personal relationships and how you also conduct your businesses and how you interact with the world and people around you. So if you haven't got a moral compass or a set of guiding principles, then it would really easy to sway you one way or the other, because when requests or people ask you for things or make requests onto you, your inability to say no, that come from a place of not having any core guiding principles, would not serve you well. So if you're comfortable with stealing, someone can come with an idea, let's go rob a bank. You're not going to get away with it because no one does, but you can well do that. If you're more open to telling lies, you have no problem lying to your partner or to your friend or to your authorities, because that's just your moral compass. If you are a stickler for time, like I am, if I turn up at 7 o'clock for an appointment and you're a minute past 7, 5 past 7, you may not meet me because I have other things to do. There's all been lined up because everything's been pre-programmed. So I might at that point say to you, I'm really sorry, but I may need to reschedule this appointment because I've got all the prior engagements. and this is fine. And there is no fear of conflict, and you cannot be judged or criticized because you're following your belief. And it also allows people to see where you're coming from. And that's the first point. So I think it's really important in when you're learning and when you're learning how to say no, that no comes from a point of your principles and values, which means you must have values and principles to start with, because without which you'll be blown away by every wind, by every request. And most of the things that you may do, you may find yourself in, may things that may lead you to where you don't want to be, because it is in contrast to what your principles are. But if you have no principles or values, well, not much to say about that one. Number 2, when unsure, just say no. If you're not sure, don't say maybe, just say no. We always respond favorably to the needs and demands of everyone. We neglect and forget what is important for us. And eventually, we do risk exhaustion. You might be doing something, driving somewhere, meeting up with a friend, carrying out a task, which you said yes to on a whim. You just said yeah because you were afraid that, you can't say no. You want to be nice to everybody, and you have a fear of, hurting people's feelings. You feel a bit guilty. It could be your belief system that it's bad or rude to say no. But here's the good news for men and women out there who suffer from not knowing how to say no. You can do a simple thing by saying, thank you for asking, but that is not going to work out for me. It's not personal. I thank you for asking, but I'm not doing any interviews while I'm writing my book because I'm fulfilling my purpose. I'm doing what I need to do, and I don't have the time right now. Ask me later. I want to do that, but I'm not available until X amount of time. Will you ask me again then? Or you can also say, let me hook you up. I can't do it, but I bet Shirley can. I'll ask her for you. Or keep trying. None of those days work for me, but I would love to see you. Send me some more dates. I'm giving you really practical steps and practical things you can do when you're unsure or when things have been asked of you and you just don't feel that you're in a position to say yeah. You can say no and use those lines. It really works out all the time. Number 3, when you don't like or accept what is being offered to you, you can exchange, return, reject, refund. All of that is a form of saying no. Moreover, in work, it's the inability to say no that leads to burnout. Knowing how to say no to others in a way of saying yes to one is a way of saying yes to oneself. Have you ever thought that time that you spend doing this stuff that you don't really want to do could have been spent doing things that you actually want to do? Or if what is being offered to you, you don't accept it, you can reject it. So I was on the phone the other day, customer service to a utility company, and I was not liking the way the lady was speaking to me. She wasn't being helpful. She was being very personal. And I said, "Sir, I'm sorry, I cannot carry this conversation. We need to stop because you're not addressing my needs. And moreover, you're shouting." So my taking that action, that's me saying to them that no, I do not accept this. It's a form of saying no as well. I said no, and then I got on the phone again straight away and got a different customer assistant, and they were more open and they resolved my issue and it was solved. And that's a pretty example that you can see in your everyday life. It didn't take me a minute or two to call back, but a different service because I turned away and said no to service that was not aligned to my goals. It was not meeting my needs, and I was not prepared to waste any more of my time because I could sense this person was being overly not professional. So I just got away from that conversation. And that is one way you can do. And you do have a right. If you buy stuff from the shops, you can take it back. You can refund it. If you do not like what's being exchanged, you can reject it. And all of that is a form of saying no. Number 4, this one is really, really important. When you are being taken for granted, unappreciated, used, and or abused. A lot of people are going through this right now in relationships, particularly in relationship. I mean, interpersonal relationships, being in a family, in a loved one, in a partner, or any form of relationship. Out there though, people are like predators. These people are sharking. They're looking for people who are kind, who they can take advantage of. You can just say no. If you're in a relationship or in a situation that you feel you're being taken for granted, unappreciated, used, or abused, just say no. Just stop. Remove yourself. Give people the benefit of your absence. That is also a form of saying no. When we want to please everyone all the time, we do not take confidence in ourselves. Asserting yourself and daring to say no build self-confidence. Your confidence may be low right now because people have abused you. You're in your work, you're unappreciated. In your relationship, your partner is taking you for granted and being abusive, and you're feeling like you're being used. It eats away at your self-confidence, and that is the bottom line. Among when you have that fear, it's really a fear. What is fear? Fear is the worry that something's going to happen that has not happened yet. You fear conflict. You fear being rejected. It's all related to our need to be loved and accepted. You fear. You feel you cannot say no because you are persuaded to feel worthless than others, and that's not true. Particularly in relationships, you need to know who you are. What are you getting from this? Relationships are supposed to be transactional. Everyone's looking to get something out of it. So you're giving, and the other person is giving as well. Let me be clear. You go into relationships to give. One person is giving and the other is giving. If you're both fulfilling those roles, you can tell that you're both giving. So you're both receiving. But if one person is giving, always giving, and the other person is always receiving but not giving, you see that's an imbalance. And that's not going to work out very well. So it's very important, particularly in relationships, to know how to say no. And that is when you recognize that you've been taken for granted, unappreciated, used, or abused. Just remove yourself from those people and give them the benefit of your absence. Those who do not clearly set their limits to toxic people get stuck on their feet, let themselves feel guilty, abused and manipulated. Being able to say no is one way of protecting yourself and not being dragged into the trap of people's manipulations. Number 5, when you just mean no. Do you know what? Sometimes it's okay to say no, just for the fact that I just want to say no. You've said something to me that has crossed my moral compass. You've said something to me that, I do not agree with. And I think I don't want to do that. I'm not in a position to do that. I can't do that. I'm not going to be forced to be guilty of doing that. And I'm unable to help you now. I'm a nice and giving, helpful person. We all are. We all should aim to be. But sometimes just don't say maybe. A lot of people have got themselves into, into debt, into promises, into promising people things they cannot fulfill because they were felt threatened and bamboozled and bullied into it, or agreeing to do things without really thinking it through. It does have consequences. I always just say to you, sometimes it's just easier to just say no. And finally, let your no be no and let your yes be yes. Don't swear to God or to heaven or hell or on your kid or on your dog or your cat. If you want to develop an assertive communication, be an effective communicator, you must be able to say no when you just want to say no. I'm not in the okay position right now, so no. Not maybe, not later. Don't give people false hope. Don't string people along, and you'll be better off for it. When you go to a bank, for example, the bank is closed after 4 o'clock. Your money's in the bank. You can get access to your money because the banks operate on a business day. You have bank holidays because the banks are not working. Look at it this way: your money's in the bank, so you have right to your money, but it's not accessible to you at certain times when the bank is not in business. See yourself as valuable as a bank. See yourself as valuable as, even though it's your partner, it's your child, it's your job, it's your commitment, but it has to be done within certain boundaries. And that's what I'm trying to say to you. That sometimes just say no. And we put up at the bank. We don't go on a Saturday. We don't go on a Sunday. You don't go to the bank at 7 p.m. at night want to talk to the banker. That's not going to work. There'll be no one in the office, no one in the bank, and you can't get access to that. Even though you may feel it's your own money you're trying to get access to. Okay? So, as a recap from the top, 5 whens when you can say no very easily using these tools and techniques I've shared with you today. Number 1, when what is being asked contradicts your principles and values or moral compass. Number 2, when unsure, just say no. If you're not sure, just say no. Number 3, when you don't like or accept what is being offered to you, you can exchange, return, reject, refund. Is also a form of saying no. And finally, number 5, when you are being taken for granted, number 4, I beg your pardon, when you're being taken for granted, unappreciated, used, and abused, just say no, remove yourself from the situation, and sometimes give people the benefit of your absence. You can't please everyone all the time. Build your self-confidence. And finally, number 5, when you just mean no, not maybe, I just don't want to do it. And that's why I'm saying no. And that's it. So I hope with this 5 whens, I've given you some practical steps on how you can better be an effective communicator, create boundaries, and fulfill your own desires while you go about trying to be helpful to everyone else. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode. Please like, share, and subscribe. Memphis J Motivationals, signing out. Peace.